My hair's so messy! Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Convinced. Now, I honestly didn't know how to start this intro off because I have so many thoughts and emotions that I want to express about this game that it became so fuzzy and discombobulated in my head. So let me start off by saying this. The reason why I love video games so much is because with each different video game you play, they can give you such a unique experience, giving you this feeling that's just so hard to explain. Like, if you were to ask someone what their favorite video game is, 99.9% of the time you'll most likely get a response of, oh, I don't know, you just have to play it. And the reason for that can differentiate from many different things, like a person's personal taste or the subjective material of a game. But with Mirror's Edge, it's just something out of this world for me. I really don't know what it is about this game, but every time I get the chance to talk about it, or even play it for that matter, I get filled with this elation, like I could fucking use my enthusiasm and stone cold stunner a 6-year-old. What? But in retrospect, I think it's because I have such a personal bond with Mirror's Edge. I've made such close friendships and fond memories with this game, and I really just want to express my emotions to whoever's watching right now. So let me preface this video right now by saying shit's about to get deep and super sappy right now because I really love Mirror's Edge. But with that, here's why you should play Mirror's Edge. Actually, here's why you should play Mirror's Edge. So back in the mid-2000s, when the radio was still mind-numbingly bad and I was a dashing, young 11-year-old stud, EA was still mass-producing horse shit like FIFA, Madden, and NASCAR, along with their infamous Battlefield titles. This in turn spawned a thought in the minds of EA that went along the lines of, hey, maybe we should start making some original games. And so they did. In 2007, EA announced at GDC that DICE would be working on a new game titled Mirror's Edge, a first-person action platformer game. Mirror's Edge was eventually released on November 11, 2008 in North America and generally received positive reviews. Let me kick things off immediately by diving right into the story of the game. Mirror's Edge takes place in some random utopian city, a place of dominant dictatorial practices which surveys all communication, media, and citizens, somewhat similar to a Donald Trump wet dream. If anyone within the city wants to send unmonitored information, people called runners are commissioned to be their personal couriers. In the game you play as Faith Connors. Get it? Faith. Leap of faith. A runner who has had a dark past as a child due to the city's strict regime. During the events of the game, a politician running for mayor named Robert Pope is murdered, and Faith's sister, Kate, is framed for it along with Faith. It's now up to Faith to rescue her sister and solve the mysterious death of Robert Pope. A great aspect about the narrative and plot of Mirror's Edge is that it never tried to go over the top and be something ridiculous. The story always gave a reason for Faith to run and felt natural. It cut out all the bullshit. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the story though, mainly due to how it was delivered to me. It was like that one kid in school who got chosen to read for the entire class, but could only say 5 words a minute. The plot isn't all that memorable due to its monotonous characters, as well as the creepy cutscenes that kinda look like a commission made by someone on Tumblr, honestly. But what I sincerely love about Mirror's Edge is its theme and its correlation with its main character, Faith. Throughout the entire game, your goal is to free your sister from wrongdoings, as well as freeing yourself from this oppression of the totalitarian government, which creates this big transparent picture of freedom. Even though it's not exactly portrayed well through the game's narrative, I find that the gameplay itself does a great job at it. Having access to so many different routes and options gives you that same sense of freedom and indirectly ties in with the narrative. So even if you find Mirror's Edge to have a bit of a mundane story, you'll still be able to relate with it in some way because of how ambiguous it was. God, that was fucking cheesy. But speaking of the gameplay, let's talk about how Mirror's Edge innovated the parkour genre of games. Mirror's Edge is most notably known for its realistic implementation of parkour gameplay, presenting a freedom of movement that I talked about earlier. You control Faith through a first-person perspective as you run across walls, jump over buildings, and crawl through vents. What made it so innovative though was its attention to detail. The speed of the camera bobs at the same pace of your running. The visibility of your limbs, which conveys a sense of speed for the player. The way the camera follows all of your precise movements. On top of all of that, the game's controls make playing it as simple as ever, where upwards actions are assigned to one single button, while downwards actions are assigned to another. With all of these aspects combined, it creates a playable experience like no other. The simplistic feel of movement generates self-expression in a player, which in turn triggers a sense of exploration and curiosity of a level. Finding small shortcuts with your sick parkour skills that you learned off of YouTube instills accomplishment. Even if you can't seem to get the hang of things, features like runner vision and reaction time give the player aid if needed, whether it be highlighting certain environmental objects red to help progress the player through a specific part of the level, or slowing down time to allow the player to thoroughly think their next move out. There is some combat involved in the game, which includes guns, but with the way the game was designed, the combat is never a main focus and can always be avoided. This of course adds on to that exploration for the player to look through the environment and find the best possible pathway. And when you combine speed and momentum into all of this, who in their right mind would fucking care about a blue hedgehog? Whether it be running away from cops as fast as possible, sliding down zip lines at fast speeds, or jumping between running trains, the realism of your movement and your environment makes playing as Faith extremely breathtaking. Now for the cherry on top, it's time for me to gush over what I personally think is the best thing about Mirror's Edge: the presentation. As you can see, Mirror's Edge sports a very simplistic yet futuristic design with tons of tall buildings and bright tints, ranging from cozy office spaces to wide open rooftops to underground wells. Every level in the game is aesthetically appealing with its vibrant colors and lighting. The way light bounces off objects and how the perfect shading makes your environment so lifelike is something I adore. You'd think the repetitiveness of running over rooftops would get generic very quickly, but there's something about the game's definition of color and geometry that makes it stand out. Every environment is incredibly beautiful to look at and just begs to be plastered on as your computer's wallpaper. So get rid of that fucking anime girl. A lot of the inspiration for the environments actually came from cities like Shanghai and Tokyo, where the abundance of white plaster in the game is just as prominent in those large cities. The big canvas of colors, textures, hue, and shapes make Mirror's Edge such an amazing game to look at, and something impossible for others to replicate. The sound design is also a spectacular part of Mirror's Edge. The entire soundtrack for the game was done by Magnus Bergerson, otherwise known as Solar Fields, a Swedish electronic musician. Mirror's Edge features an electronic yet ambient tone that perfectly grasps the mood for each part of the game. Whether it be Faith running from pursuit, giving chase, or scaling up a building, Solar Fields was able to help convey the ideal emotions to the player with his music. It's personally one of my favorite soundtracks just because of how easy it is to listen to given any circumstance. Aside from the music, the actual sound design in the game was spot on, from the sounds of Faith gasping for air during a long sprint to the pats of her soles hitting the ground. Every sound Faith makes from running sounds extremely true to life. I couldn't imagine falling to your death would sound like Jonah Hill farting into a toilet bowl, but it oddly fits the picture. The sounds of birds taking flight sounds great. The sounds of ongoing traffic below the building sounds great. It's a mix of all of these sounds that go unnoticed that gives the player the feeling of actually being in a free running scenario. Altogether, both the artistic design and sound design of Mirror's Edge is something I wish I could see more of in other games because it honestly feels so real. I remember back in 2008 when I first played this game. I went to one of my friends' house after school and he showed me this new game that he got for his birthday. And we popped it in as 360 and Mirror's Edge appears on the title card. And my eyes just widen as I watch him play through that first level. I was so amazed by it, and to this day I still don't know why that game alone has done that compared to any other game that I've played, and I still feel that way now. It's got amazing mechanics, superb visuals, an astounding soundtrack. I honestly can't praise it enough. Honestly, it sucks that the game never rose to popularity as I think it should have due to it being such a fresh IP, but it's never too late to give this game a chance if you're willing to play it. And of course, Mirror's Edge Catalyst was released about a month ago, so if you haven't given that a shot, you should definitely do that. I haven't been able to play that, so if you have, I am jealous of you so very much. I've picked up speedrunning because of this game. I've made some great online friends because of this game. I've probably beaten this game over 1,000 times by now because it is truly one of my favorite games. Why is it one of my favorite games? I don't know, but you just have to play it. But with that, I'm Coastward, and I'll see you guys later. Hey everyone, how's it going? Thank you so much for watching. As always, leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed it. But yeah, sorry this video took so long. I've been trying to think of ways to get more consistent content on my channel, but I'm not exactly sure of what I should be doing. So if you have any ideas, let me know. But other than that, yeah, check these videos out and I'll see you later.